Good afternoon. It's Monday, June 29th. This is Emergency Response Committee. Notice the meeting was properly posted on June 22nd, 2020. And looking around, don't believe we need a roll call. All members are present. And do we need to have a date, time, and place to reconvene the event? Technical difficulties since everyone's here? Don't believe we do we? All right, item number 2, approval of minutes of June 22nd.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed likewise. Motion passed. Thank you. Item number 3, discussion review possible action regarding presentation from emergency management, which he again messed up. We will have that update in a few minutes. Item number 4, discussion review possible action regarding presentation from BOCC departments. Any BOCC departments wish to share with us? Do you have any information from anyone?
I can tell you unemployment claims have slowed significantly. I think everything that we've submitted has been approved or has been stopped so far. Hopefully that trend continues.
We're good.
There was some question as to elevator operations at the last meeting, and we were not present to answer them. Do you have those questions today?
I think they were just wondering, I'd received an email, there was some challenges and some questions regarding how many were operating. I think the note I got was saying there was only one operating in the courthouse, and I think it just general discussion.
That may be the case at any given time. Currently, we have one inoperable elevator in the courthouse. That's the elevator C. We've just received the proposal and pricing figure on that repair today. And one elevator in the annex, the northwest elevator, which will be on the contract for Wednesday. I guess both contracts for repairs of those will be on for Wednesday's BOCC and agenda.
Okay, very good.
But keep in mind, they do fail during the day and have to be either reset or repaired. So it's a process.
There's still an on-site Kone
Yes.
person? Yeah.
Just in the mornings, all right.
Just before the business day begins.
Very good. Any other information from BOCC departments? Entertain a motion to receive that information.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed likewise. Thank you. Item number 5, discussion review regarding presentation from facilities management. Anything specific, Mr. Monroe?
Yes, we're continually being asked by various departments and entities if we'll provide sneeze guards. We thought we had the courthouse completed, and now there are several more that decide they want to have sneeze guards put in place. Also, we've been contacted by JJC to have sneeze guards put in place for those judges operating out there. So I don't know where we stand on our inventory with plexiglass, but we'll continue down this road.
Okay. How about cleaning, disinfecting, sanitizing? How's that going?
That's continuing, and we did reach out to our contractor with regards to the level of activity that the public can see, employees see. That staff that is charged with disinfecting will occasionally slow down, stop what they're doing, converse in the halls and stairwells. The regional manager for our contractor is here today. That's an unexpected presence to make any kinds of changes necessary.
Okay. Might request if you could to make sure that that area outside of my office where the attorney's, DA's office has set up those tables and they're doing quite a few actual public interviews and processes, whatever, that shows no signs of having been cleaned since midweek last week.
Cleaned or disinfected?
Yes.
Okay.
So if you could make sure that they're hitting that area. I know my office hadn't, which is not a big deal because I'm typically the only one there and I do my whole area, but
We'll make sure that that's included.
yeah, because there's a lot of folks coming through there. I appreciate that. Anything else for facilities management? We entertain a motion to accept that report.
So moved.
Second.
Motion second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Item number 6, discussion review possible action regarding presentations from, in this case, Oklahoma County Assessor. Sir?
Wanted to express our concerns for where the funding would come from for different projects that are related to COVID-19. We had previously been in discussions about getting some of the automated doors to prevent us from having to have contact with doorknobs and door handles with Keith Monroe, and we were attempting to try to get that into our budget, and we realize now that after the COVID-19 concerns, it would probably be a great idea to do all of those offices that have a lot of foot traffic, which includes our offices on the 3rd and 4th floor, and the treasurer's office, the clerk's office, and others have already obtained those doors. So the question is, where would that money come from, or where, we know where the money would come from, but we don't know where it would be requested from.
Right.
And I wanted to bring that to your attention because we'd like to put that, we'd like to get those doors set up so we can prevent the concerns that we have. So that's my concern that I wanted to raise.
I appreciate you bringing that to us. I think that, if
David?
I'm not mistaken,
Wouldn't that be something that the BET members
Exactly.
who are evaluating this
Right.
would be able to discuss?
that's where I was headed exactly. I appreciate that. If I'm not mistaken, and Mr. Compton is here, may be able to address that, but I understand that the budget evaluation team has a process in place where new projects can be broached and reviewed.
Yeah, we had previously spoke with Cody a little bit, and he said that perhaps coming to this meeting today to make that awareness, because what we were thinking is if our office were to do it independently, or if we should take a more uniform approach for the entire building, and that's kind of where this approach has come from.
Very good.
So,
I, for one, would support a broader scope. Makes sense.
Appreciate you guys.
Yes, thank you.
so
You
much.
bet. Thank you for coming.
You bet.
Cody, you care to address that at all? Or the BET process, my understanding, is in place. They can bring that project to the BET, is that correct?
That hadn't gone live yet. The project part hasn't, correct?
Yes, it is, it's been live since end of
Thursday.
last week, Thursday, maybe, Friday. Mikey called me last week and was discussing the issue of the sliding doors. I think is what you guys were talking about. Sorry, I came in late.
You're right.
BET will be discussing projects like that. Their concern was whether just to do that in their area or do it campus-wide in various
Exactly.
areas. I felt if they briefed you guys, Keith Monroe would be in here, so then Keith could be on the same page, everybody kind of moving forward. And if that was something that they chose to do, or we wanted to look at globally, then it could be brought to BET one way or the other.
Very good. Thank you. Any more discussion, information regarding presentations, information from Oklahoma County Clerk, Oklahoma County Court Clerk, Oklahoma County Treasurer, Oklahoma County Sheriff, District Attorney, Public Defender, Oklahoma County Courts?
Move to receive report.
Second.
Got a motion, second, to receive the report. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed likewise? Thank you. Item number 7, discussion review possible action regarding reentry provisions and plans for Oklahoma County offices and facilities. Mr. Matthews, if you would lead that discussion for a moment while I step out and grab a report.
Okay. Any comments, any questions, any concerns regarding this item? I know we had some discussion last Thursday regarding this item. Anything anybody wants to bring up? Continue that discussion? Mr. Blau? No? Okay.
Hold on, this is reentry plans and provisions for facilities as well. Is Keith still here? Hey, oh, crap. Sorry. Hey, my bad. Can you come and answer a question for me? I'm just curious about these sliding doors, and we're looking at high-traffic areas. How many high-traffic areas do not have the sliding doors currently, besides possibly the assessor's office?
Well, you can count around the building. The jury assembly room on the first floor is high traffic.
Okay.
The county clerk's office on the west end may not necessarily be high traffic, but there's a set of double doors there. This has an auto opener. The third floor county assessor on the west end, and that's what we were just talking about, does not have automatic doors. On the fourth floor, the court clerk does not have automatic doors in several locations. On the fifth floor, into the DA's vestibule off of the elevator lobby, that does not have automatic glass doors. In a number of these places, the doors are merely being left open. And at various times of day, you'll see that those glass doors that are sliders are simply left open. They're not opening and closing. So I don't know whether or not you would have to make a case and justify automatic door openers for the doors that we have currently in operation, or do you replace the entire storefront to include the kinds of glass doors that you see used on the second and third floor?
That was, that was sort of what I was trying to get my head around, is why can't we, or why aren't we just leaving doors open? I mean, if it's an ADA door that needs, ADA accessibility, fully understand that. And
I think
would
they-
support the change, but
I think they could be much like the doorways to the stairwells and some of the offices I've seen on the fourth floor. One area that we're working with is the auto door openers into the bathrooms, the public bathrooms, restroom facilities. If we can identify a unit that will work with what we have now and also if and when we remodel and the configuration changes, if we can re-employ those auto door openers, I think that would serve us best, but we're working towards that.
Perfect. I appreciate it. I was trying to get my head around. Thank you. Motion to receive report.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed likewise. Was that a reopen, or was that?
That was item 7.
Oh, okay. All I have is the provision of mask. Thank you. But I'd like to turn back to item number 3. Discussion review, possible action regarding presentation of emergency management. We start off that fire weather conditions are getting ugly in Oklahoma, particularly west and northwest, when we're looking at a heat index in the western half of the state at over 100 degrees today and tomorrow, ranging from 108 southwest to 101 in north central. Here in Oklahoma County, we're anticipating 102 today, so outdoor activities, particularly district yards, employees, et cetera, certainly hydration is warranted. In the state of Oklahoma, Governor Stitt received an announcement he's going to be doing a COVID-19 response update tomorrow afternoon at 2 o'clock, so a press conference in that regard. State Department of Health numbers released a little over an hour ago, 13,172 positive test results in the state. That's up 228. 385 virus-related fatalities. That is no change from previous numbers. Largest numbers continue in Oklahoma County with 70, Tulsa County with 67, and Cleveland County with 40. 9,587 Oklahomans have recovered, with 1,440 cumulative virus-related hospitalizations as of today, this morning. 329 COVID cases currently hospitalized as of the 26th. Interesting announcement that Dan shared with me, and likely other members too, that at the end of last week that the 2020 State Fair has been canceled. As requested, I provided an electronic copy of the new University of Oklahoma policy regarding mandatory mask use. You probably had a chance to look at that, maybe not. Basically, in a nutshell, it's all campuses, all persons inside university facilities and vehicles and when outdoors on campus, and 6-foot social distancing is not possible or required. To wear fabric or surgical style mask covering the nose and the mouth. A mask is not required if in a vehicle or enclosed workspace if no one else is present, or during activities prohibiting use. If you want to walk around singing, I believe you can do that without a mask. Dorm room is optional but encouraged if you're not alone or if symptomatic. University is, quote, making masks available, unquote, to employees and students. Guests, visitors, vendors, contractors, and patients in medical facilities are required to wear masks and should be asked to bring their own. However, university will make surgical masks available. And mask use for special events, including sports events, will be addressed basically on a per-event basis. In Oklahoma County, State Health Department numbers 2,732 positive cases, 70 fatalities, with 1,962 reported recovered from known COVID diagnosis. We did have one courthouse-related positive. Dan and I were advised of at the end of last week. One of the judges does have a positive test. And according to a press release that I saw, the presiding judge is quoted as saying there's no plans to revise protective measures or change courthouse access guidance currently.
Do you know if there was an attempt at the contact tracing with regard to that individual and who might have been in close proximity?
It's my understanding there was contact tracing with other people in that individual offices. I do not know, Joe, the extent of that. Do you know anything about that, Dan?
No, I don't.
Any other questions or comments?
David,
Sir?
with regard to some of the numbers that you gave, both statewide and more specifically to the county, do we know the number of total cases as a percentage for June?
No.
In other words, what the growth is statewide of cases?
Yeah, I can glean those from the information that I have. I do not know specific to June. Can certainly do that by tracking through those reports.
Is it safe to say it's probably bordering on double the previous months that we've been dealing with this situation?
A number of positive cases from testing.
Number of positive cases?
I don't believe it doubles, no. In fact, I don't really have it on here, I don't believe, but I thought we were still in the 4% tile somewhere of positive cases. If I'm not mistaken, it's...
No, total cases reported. So in other words, up through the beginning of June, we were around 5,500, and so far to date, we've had at least that number,
Oh, okay, you're talking total cases.
total cases.
Yeah. No, I can track that relatively easy, because yes, we are, if it was 5,500, we definitely doubled, because we're at 13,172 now.
And you said something about hospitalizations. That number continues to rise, is that correct?
Yes, it does. 1,440 as of the 29th. Current hospitalizations are 329. I think we've been running, as recent as probably a week and a half ago, we were in the 200s.
Do you know, given the criteria that was established at the onset of this, whether or not we still meet the guidelines for reopening?
According to the doctor who's often quoted out of OU, we do not, but I have not specifically gone back and compared to the governor's three-phase plan. I'll pull you some reports, hospitalizations and total cases through the month of June. I know as we approach the reinstitution of jury trials that there's definitely a heightened interest with that and looking at possible revisions, recommendations, something as far as building entry, whatever. The mask issue is a dynamic in that regard as well.
And you said that the governor will have a press conference tomorrow.
Yes, I believe this is the one that I alluded to when I got that updated information Thursday and Friday. We're anticipating at the first part of July. So at 2 o'clock tomorrow, he has a press briefing. Not sure if we need to, we had, at a previous meeting, had discussed possibly making recommendations to the BET to include asking them to set a target date, whatever that may look like, for getting information from all offices, elected officials in regards to PPE forecasting. We still don't have anywhere near adequate information in that regard. Supply chains are starting to be a little bit challenged again. They're not shut down, but what I would consider gouging is definitely in place because of the heightened number of cases nationwide and the fact that people are picking up, purchasing the supplies and the materials again. So we're having some obvious challenges in that regard. I think we also talked about possibly, depending on what the governor does, and I'm a little bit concerned about having a gap or a void in the emergency declaration because ours is dependent and runs with the correlation to the states. If they do not, then ours will also expire. So BOCC request to extend that if it be the pleasure of this committee or whatever. But I don't think that gap would do us any favors if there were a lapse.
Can we add an item to the agenda for BOCC for Wednesday? And if the governor extends tomorrow, the emergency declaration, I mean, we can always strike that item off the agenda, but could we add something to extend the county's emergency response, emergency declaration?
Is that a motion?
Sure, I'll make it a motion.
Have a motion, I will second. Excuse me. Have a motion to put something on BOCC agenda for Wednesday to reinitiate the disaster declaration unless, of course, the state continues theirs, at which time it would be unnecessary for us and we could pull at that item, and I second that motion.
Perhaps the July 31 date.
Okay. Motion second. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed likewise? Hearing no opposition, that motion passed. I will get an item on the BOCC agenda.
David, just a little bit of clarification.
Yeah.
though. If the governor doesn't extend, then what you will need to do is have a completely new resolution for the board to consider
Correct.
with the new dates and things.
Yeah, it'd just
Okay.
be dates, but would not have the verbiage of running concurrent with the state.
Yeah.
Which is actually what our first one was, if I'm not mistaken. We've done two.
And-
Any discussion in regard to the BET recommendation?
Well, I know we've had discussions about trying to make a determination of what our needs will be by all the offices, and I know you sent a note out, I believe, last week again. So I think you set a June 30 deadline, or did you have a deadline?
No, we did not.
Okay. I think we should, because you need to know numbers so you can make the purchases.
We picked the date, July 10th.
I thought we did as well.
Pretty sure we picked the date of July 10th.
Okay,
Did we? July 10th?
Yeah.
That is a Friday.
okay.
So we could get to the 15th.
Right.
Yep.
Is that informal recommendation to BET?
That was my understanding. We were gonna.
Because they all have representatives?
Right.
Okay. So I will, let's see, I've already got an item on BET agenda for an update, and can make that recommendation at that
Here.
time.
Yep.
July 10th is the recommended date.
That was,
It was to, the minutes, just reviewing that.
perfect.
So Miles moved and I seconded to recommend to the Budget Board on July 2nd, 2020, to set the cutoff date as July the 10th.
Okay.
That July 2nd date is the date that they'll meet to discuss the CARES Act money. David, since you have that, or Dan, whoever it was, since you have that email already drafted up, you could just forward it back on to everybody and
I can do that.
say, we're still waiting.
I can do that.
And if you plan on using supplies from you, ordered by the county.
Point of reference, part of my discussion with the state director in regards to the jail use of PPE. Again, reemphasize that the strategic national stockpile portion of that is starting to look like it's coming to closure relatively soon. And all departments who wish to do on their own need to make those accommodations and make sure that's in place. The director did state that he would have discussion with the committees or whomever's guiding that. It's in the health department, the use of SNS assets, and that he would make sure that that would be able to continue as long as SNS assets are available. But beyond that, that's a question I think we've yet to answer. Any other questions or discussion?
Move to accept the report.
Second.
Motion second to accept the report. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed likewise. That's accepted. Thank you.
Kick me out.
I believe we're to item number 8, discussion possible action, determine next meeting date and time.
I move next Monday, July 6th at noon in this room.
Got a motion for July 6, 12 noon, BOCC room, and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed likewise. Hearing none, motion carry. Board comments. Just one.
I'd like to reopen item 7.
Okay. Do you hear a second to reopen item number 7?
Second.
Motion second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed likewise. Hearing none, Mr. Blau.
All right. David, you mentioned, and we know, I think jury notices will be going out shortly for the, what is it, the August call?
August, yeah, 17th, I believe it was.
So that will increase traffic in the buildings. You know, I'm still bothered by the elevator issue that I spoke of last week. The elevator masks are recommended as opposed to masks are required. And given even that we have difficulties with all of our elevators operating properly, I still don't think it's too much asked that at a minimum, we would make a recommendation to return to that policy to the BOCC.
Mass use on elevators.
You know, I think you mentioned that at this time, A, we're providing PPE to our employees, and B, we're still continuing to provide masks to people that are entering the facility. Is that correct?
They are provided, yes, sir.
So it's not too difficult to ask those that are providing those masks at the door to just ask, A, do you have a mask? No, here's a mask, because if you want to ride the elevators, you need to wear a mask. And as I mentioned in some previous meeting, there was some assertion that if I was on the elevator with a mask and somebody wanted to get on that wasn't wearing a mask, I could just tell them, take another car. Well, that's not going to probably be welcomed. And I think having a mask required lends some ability of the person that is telling someone without a mask to keep them off of that car without causing a major scene. The other benefit I think we get with masks required to ride the elevators is, once you put that mask on, you're more than likely going to wear it until you've reached your destination. So I think given the numbers of people that are riding our elevators and endangering both other members of the public and members of our staff, that at a minimum, we should try once again to do mask required. So that would be my motion for one elevator. Actually, I'm going to go all elevators in this building and the courthouse.
Recommendation to BOCC to that effect?
Yep. I-
You do ICB? We can't.
You can put it on, hearing it.
Sorry.
So that's my motion.
I'll second.
Motion and second to make a recommendation to BOCC for mask use requirements on elevators in ICB
It
and...
does, it's not, somehow I'm connected to that. I've tried 3 times. I can't push, it's not allowing me to use the, I'll try again. There we go.
There we go. Okay, we have a motion and a second to make a recommendation to BOCC for mask use requirement on elevators in ICB annex in the courthouse. Is that correct?
Mhm.
All in favor? Sorry?
That's PBA.
Yeah.
Just-
ICB
just the
and Metro.
BOCC, yeah.
It's got to be BOCC controlled properties. How about that?
Yeah.
Okay.
As far as I know, these are the only two.
That would be.
Okay.
Feel like one.
Slight adjustment, BOCC recommendation for mask use requirement on elevators on BOCC controlled properties. Have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed likewise? Aye. One in opposition. Motion carries. I will put that on the agenda as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other under item number 7? Would entertain a motion to accept additional information under item number 7?
So moved.
Have a motion? Do I hear a second? Any further discussion of item number 7?
Second.
I second.
Motion and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed likewise? Motion carried. Thank you. Back to board comments. District 1. No? District 2?
No, thank you.
District 3?
No, thank you.
Mr. Matthews?
None.
None from me. Do we have a motion to adjourn or to recess this meeting?
In light of possible governor's action tomorrow.
Yep.
What time is that?
2 o'clock.
2 o'clock?
2:45. How about 2:45?
3? That's
There's
gonna be quiet.
BET.
3? Okay.
I mean,
Yeah,
we
one.
need to act on something he says.
I agree. I was going to make that similar type suggestion,
Okay,
so.
yeah, cool. How about it?
Recess till 3, you think? 3 tomorrow.
What time is BET tomorrow?
1 o'clock
1.
in this room. Okay, I have a motion to recess until June 30, tomorrow, 3 o'clock in the BOCC room. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed likewise. Thank you, gentlemen, we are in recess.